a.m. Eastern on ESPN. And today, the champs are... Hey, guys. Stephen, sorry, can you just talk a little lower 1 second? 3, 2, 1. What's up, First Take fam? Thank you so much for hanging with us on this hump day. Remember, catch First Take weekdays 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. And today, the champs are in the building. The Patriots, Chris Hogan, Dante Hightower, Malcolm Mitchell, Rob Ninkovich talk about that epic Super Bowl comeback. Plus, we're going to talk Lakers and Cowboys with one of the biggest stars in daytime TV. Actor Eric Braeden joins us. We're also going to have him grade Stephen A's acting performances. Going to be fun. And Phil Jackson, the ultimate troll, trolling Melo on Twitter. So will this be the final chapter in this ongoing Knicks drama saga? We get into all of it. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for hanging with us here on First Take. He's Stephen A. Smith. That is Max Kellerman. I'm Molly Qerim. We got it.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's go. I got an attitude. Let's go. Let's go. Every second counts.
Coming up, fresh off a Super Bowl victory in their parade in Boston, we'll have a bunch of Patriots players stopping by. Can't wait to get into that game on Sunday night with them. But we start with some serious trolling and subliminals from the Zen Master. Phil Jackson responding to a Bleacher Report column detailing the Anthony Jackson dynamic and questions Anthony's desire by concluding that Jackson's Knicks, quote, can't want for Anthony what he doesn't want deeply enough for himself. This is just the latest public critique from Jackson of Anthony. Phil and his rings also taking to Twitter with this tweet. Bleachers ding. Almost rings the bell, but I learned you don't change the spot on a leopard with Michael Graham in my CBA days. Then the New York Daily News back page, they got in on the fun with Twid hits the fan. Stephen A., please break this down for me. Is Phil trying to get rid of Melo, or is the man trying to get rid of himself?
I think it's both. If he ended up going first, he would be happy because he gets to get money without working, which some would argue he's already been doing for the last 2.5 years. The man is atrocious as an executive. It's just that simple, because he's not a leader of men, not the leader of men that we knew to be as an 11-time champion. His behavior is juvenile. His behavior is unprofessional. His behavior is disgraceful. And if this were a player, we would be vilifying him the world over. What Phil Jackson is doing is so egregious. I think it's a fireable offense. And more importantly, I'm incredibly disappointed with James Dolan, because James Dolan usually does not like his organization making headlines with this kind of stuff. As much as critical as you can be, as critical as I can be at James Dolan from time to time, the one thing that is consistent about him is the fact that he's not down with this kind of public displays. That's not who he is. And so Phil Jackson is sort of violating his code of ethics to some degree. Now let's get specific. Does Phil Jackson want Carmelo gone? Absolutely. Is Phil Jackson trying to force Carmelo Anthony out of New York City? Absolutely. Here's why I put Phil wanting to leave up there with Melo, wanting to push Melo out the door. Because if Melo were to be gone, then supposedly that starts a rebuilding process. To start a rebuilding process gives the indication that Phil Jackson is looking forward to working. And I don't believe he is looking forward to working. I think he wants the money. As numerous sources told me on many occasions, Max, he never wanted the job. He used to laugh at Dolan behind his back. He said, the man just keeps throwing more money at me.
To be fair,
time and time
who doesn't laugh
again.
at James Dolan, either in his face or
well, Isaiah Thomas doesn't laugh at him. Steve Mills doesn't laugh at him. But I'm just saying,
even good Isaiah.
Since we could be technical. But in the end, what it comes down to is Melo didn't bring Joakim Noah with a 4-year, $72 million deal. Noah didn't sign, Carmelo didn't sign Courtney Lee to $50 million over 4 years. He didn't do those two moves at the expense of having D. Wade in a New York Knicks uniform, which could have happened if Phil Jackson used that money judiciously. Carmelo Anthony did not hire Derek Fisher as the coach, who had no experience whatsoever. Carmelo Anthony did not push Mike Woodson out the door, a name that doesn't get nearly enough recognition. He's an assistant coach with the Clippers right now. He was the head coach of the New York Knicks. They won 54 games, the Atlantic Division crown, catching the division crown for the first time in 13 years. These were all moves made by Phil Jackson. And Max, here's the bottom line. Phil Jackson is trying to find a scapegoat to cover over and gloss over the stuff that he did. He is trying to pass the buck with accountability, and his target is Carmelo Anthony. And Carmelo Anthony, from what I'm told, is furious. You understand?
He should.
His family, his friends,
all
telling them, be cool, be cool, be cool, play this.
They're supposed to be on the same team.
Don't take the bait. But Carmelo is furious. And I said what I'm going to say, what I said on SportsCenter, I'm going to end it by saying this. I cannot emphasize this enough. And I'm looking into the camera. Carmelo Anthony does not like this man. This is not some situation where, it's a little disagreement. Carmelo Anthony does not like this man. It has to sever. As long as Phil's going to be there, Carmelo has to go.
Nor should he like Phil Jackson, the way Phil Jackson's treated Carmelo. You know, it's easy. You and I will debate Carmelo, and I think he's overrated, and you think he's rated properly or whatever it is, and it seems like I'm anti-Carmelo. I'm not anti-Carmelo. Carmelo's an excellent player. I don't think he's a top 10 player, but he's an excellent player, a great player even. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. He'll deserve it. By all accounts, a good dude, has given what he has to the city of New York, to the Knicks franchise, has the best intentions there, doesn't deserve this. The question as to whether Phil is trying to get rid of Carmelo or himself, I think is clearly Phil's trying to get rid of himself. And I'll tell you why. First, if you want to get rid of Carmelo Anthony, if you really want to trade him and rebuild, you want stuff for him.
Yeah.
I mean, Phil's been terrible. Gave away Tyson Chandler, got nothing back. Used Iman Shumpert, who was cheap and considered a good commodity, to leverage himself out of J.R. Smith, who it turns out is still good, but wanted to get rid of actually a reasonable contract for J.R. Smith. Didn't really get anything back for that. Signed Joakim Noah to a terrible deal. You know, all those things. He doesn't get value for his assets, and he's made bad decisions. If you really want to move Carmelo, what I would do, what any sensible person would do, you'd sit down with Porzingis and Carmelo. You say, you are the future. We're obviously not ready to win yet. This is what we need to do. This man has to be, meaning Carmelo, the centerpiece of the offense. We want to get as much back for you as possible. In return, you know, we're going to run the offense through you. Your stats are going to look great. We're going to try and win as much as possible, make it look as good as possible, inflate the asset. You want to go to Cleveland or L.A.? You know, we think we can get Kevin Love from Cleveland, or maybe we could even get Blake Griffin from L.A. He's going to be a free agent. Things haven't always been so smooth there, hurt a lot, all those kind of things. Maybe we could even dream big like that. That's what you would do if you're really trying to get rid of Carmelo. That you try to talk him out of the no-trade deal, not try to force his hand. What you don't do is deflate the asset by telling the world how bad
that's where
he is.
I'm lost. Wouldn't you be building him up?
Of course.
If you're trying to trade him.
Right. What Phil is trying to do is get fired because he's about halfway through with that $60 million deal. He'd like the rest of the $30 million without having to work, it seems to me. And what's the tip-off? The tip-off is the Kevin Ding article in Bleacher Report. Yesterday we were talking about it. Seems like someone in the Knicks front office probably planted that. When Phil Jackson tweets the next day, Kevin Ding almost rings the bell. Does he think he's being slick? Is he trying to throw everyone off the scent by thinking, but we're all thinking, oh, I guess he wasn't the source for Kevin Ding because Ding didn't get it completely right. That is the most ham-handed any observer who is savvy at all from a distance is looking at that and going, oh, Phil is the source. So why would Phil is not stupid. He's doing things in broad daylight to get himself fired.
He's not stupid. But what I think you're not giving enough credence to is his arrogance. Phil Jackson is so arrogant. He believes he's so above the fray that everyone else are mere peons compared to him. I know this for a fact because of how other executives and other, front office executives, coaches and the like in the league don't like him because of how aloof he is and has been when it comes to them. They look at him and they say, who the hell does he think he is? Because they detest the fact that he's revered as this 11-time champion. He got MJ in his prime with Pippen on the come-up. He had Shaq in his prime with Kobe on the come-up. He had Kobe in his prime with Gasol on the come-up. Phil Jackson is the luckiest coach in NBA history. You could sit up there and talk about Red Auerbach because he had the Bill Russell, the Bob Cousy's, and everybody else. But he kind of built that because the NBA was a different game.
Was he also one of the greatest coaches in NBA history?
Yes.
So he's both of the luckiest and among the greatest.
Me personally, I take nothing away from Phil Jackson, the coach. I think there's something to be said for knowing not to mess it up. And I think Phil Jackson deserves a boatload of credit for that. But how he treated people along the way is well documented. Just ask around the NBA. He's not particularly well liked. He doesn't care. Let's be clear about that. He got his own clique and no one else really matters. But it's relevant from the perspective that this is one of the things that I've always held against Phil. And I'm sure Phil was mad at me because he walked by me without answering a question one year back in the day after he wrote a book on Kobe. I called him out on it. Here's why I called him out on it. You win championships. You decide you're stepping away from the game, and then you write a book about Kobe. To me, that's a betrayal. It's similar to what I believe George Karl did. And I like George Karl, but I don't believe you do that. And I think Phil did that, and then when he was coming back, Kobe was willing to mend those fences because after Phil was gone, they weren't winning.
Kobe wants to win championships.
And he put winning ahead of it, which elevates a level of credence with Phil as a coach.
Yes.
But it also highlights him as a person. And it highlights him as an executive who doesn't have to coach.
The only other time.
That's what I'm saying.
Saying that Phil Jackson's lucky like Doug Collins, a lot of other coaches had a lot of those players. The only one out of all those players you mentioned, Shaq and Kobe and Jordan and Pippen, the only one who won a championship without Phil Jackson was Shaquille O'Neal, and that was with Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And that was one, and that's it.
Well,
everyone else needed Phil to win championships just like he needed them.
Which is why I would say again, to reiterate and close it, Phil Jackson deserves all the credit in the world as an 11-time champion, even though those things I highlighted about MJ, Pippen, and beyond are accurate. But what it points to is the level, is what he is, what he appears to be, rather, as a person. Because, again, the writing of the book, the things you were willing to say, and then on top of it all, you become an executive, but you're trying to coach from the stands.
He's trying to get rid of himself, I claim. I mean, obviously both, but more one or the other. He's trying to get rid of himself. What are you saying? Agree?
Yes.
He's trying to get rid of himself, right? Trying to get himself fired.
But along the way, he don't mind getting rid of Melo, too.
Sure.
That's how bad he is.
Sure.
Fair enough.
Well, if you're leaving, who
We're
cares
going
what
to
happens to the
continue this
franchise?
conversation, but I want to bring in somebody else's take. So this is obviously just the latest public critique from Jackson of Anthony, who, let's keep in mind, the Knicks, at Phil's request, have shopped to other teams in trade talks. Here's Charles Barkley talking about Phil earlier today with Greeny and Golick on Mike and Mike.
I don't think it's gone as bad as people are making it out to be.
Tell me.
I think what happened to Phil, he took two chances, and it just didn't work. If Noah and Rose played well, the Knicks would probably be a high seed in the Eastern Conference. We'd be having a totally different conversation because now he's stuck with Rose. He's stuck with Noah because he got him for 3 more years. But until he gets rid of Carmelo, he's really just screwed. And I think that's what got him madder than anything.
All right, so Sir Charles saying the Zen Master hasn't been that bad. Max, do you agree with Barkley?
I completely disagree with Charles Barkley. And what he knows about, what he's forgotten about basketball, I'll never know. I'm not challenging Charles Barkley's basketball knowledge, although anyone who thinks the Joakim Noah signing had any upside is out of their mind. I mean, like, that's insane. Joakim Noah was finished last year, you could tell. 3 years ago, he was mine and everyone's among their favorite players. He's exactly what you need on a championship-style team. Did anyone watch him last year? He was done, stick a fork in him, done, and Phil gave him a 4-year contract for $70 million. That was a stupid and terrible idea. The one thing, he took a gamble on Derrick Rose. Of course, he actually gave up serviceable talent to get him. The one thing you can give Phil Jackson credit for, and only one, is that he delegated responsibility in such a way that he drafted Kristaps Porzingis. Although even then, that was the 4th pick in the draft. So the top 3 blue chip guys that everyone knew were going to go 1, 2, and 3. Karl Anthony Towns was going to be 1. Then the question was, is it Okafor, D'Angelo Russell? Who would be 2? Who would be 3? After that, it could have been Porzingis or a bunch of guys. And the leader in the clubhouse in terms of what people felt was Porzingis. But give Phil Jackson credit. There was a draft. 3 other teams, or 2 other teams, because Towns was going to go 1, passed on Porzingis. Phil Jackson's team grabbed him because he trusted his people. He deserves credit for that, and that's a big thing. And that is it. He has made a mess of everything else. The personnel decisions have been awful, and that is the reason the Knicks stink, because they have a solid coach. They don't have a good enough team.
Well, first of all, we don't know if Jeff Hornacek is solid. We'll give him the benefit. Yeah, I'm talking about Phoenix. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We don't know if he's solid. I'm not excoriating him in any way, but we don't know if he's solid. Here's the thing that I want to back, and I don't disagree with anything that you said because you're right on the money. Phil Jackson has been an atrocity. Okay, he's been awful. And as far as I'm concerned, there should be barricades let out of New York. As far as I'm concerned, he's New York's version of Jay Cutler. He means nothing to me. He's a novice, zero experience, and he's showing it right now. But the crime with him, like I've said about Jay Cutler, when I call Jay Cutler the worst quarterback in the NFL, it's not because of his ability, because the ability is clearly there. It's that he doesn't care. I am accusing Phil Jackson of negligence. I'm not questioning the greatness of him as a coach or his basketball acumen. That would be asinine. I am questioning his commitment. I am accusing him of flagrant negligence. He doesn't want to answer questions. He doesn't want to make himself available to the media. And then when you look at the contracts that he's brought on board, it ain't just Joakim Noah, who, by the way, is being paid $17 million this year. It ain't just Derrick Rose, who's in the last year of a $21.3 million contract. It ain't just Courtney Lee, okay? I mean, where are his salaries at? I can't even find it right now.
Courtney Lee was a good signing, just too many years.
That's too many years, but that's what I'm saying. Because remember, it's the fact that you gave him too many years. You could have got a guy like Dwayne Wade, who's a champion, who would have been in your locker. And this is what the crime. Nobody brought this up about Phil. There's two things that are very, very important here that needs to be mentioned, which is why I completely disagree with Charles Barkley. That's why I wish he was here to debate me, because I'm telling you, I would have called him on this. It's two things with Phil. Number one, when you look at Phil, he hired a coach in Derek Fisher. That coach, Derek Fisher, was given $5 million a year. You had to give him $5 million a year because you failed to convince James Dolan to give Steve Kerr more than $4 million a year. All right? And less years, by the way. You can't pull that off, you Phil Jackson? You couldn't prioritize Steve Kerr, but you found a way to prioritize Derek Fisher?
You think Kerr would have taken the money to go to the Knicks instead of going to Golden State?
No, I don't. But at the time, you remember, they beat you to the punch, because even though change was coming, at the same time, it was clear.
And once they paid Kerr, that set the market. Now you had to pay
There you go. So you got that going on. But the biggest thing that never has been brought up about Phil, and this is what bothers me about every damn body in the NBA, they don't bring this up enough. When you are an executive with name cachet, your ability to go out and recruit talent to come play for you is paramount. The fact that you got marquees, whether it's a LeBron, whether it's a Kevin Durant, you're an 11-time champion who delivered titles to MJ and Kobe. You can't get them to sit down for dinner with you? To have a conversation? They wouldn't even meet with Phil to have a conversation. It was Melo out front and center talking to Kevin Durant, trying to recruit Kevin Durant to come to New York City. Phil was nowhere to be found, and it ain't because of his bad hips. It's because the man is lazy. It's because the man don't give a damn. He never wanted the job, and that is that. And so when you look at it from that perspective, here's my point. We bring out this name. I'll tell you an executive who hasn't been mentioned by anybody. How about Joe Dumars? A guy that took the Pistons to 6 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals appearances. A guy that sat up there and won an NBA championship and went to 2 NBA Finals. That dude. Now, granted, he's vilified because he drafted Darko Milicic instead of Melo or Bosh or D-Wade, but he did have Tayshaun Prince. They had just won a title, or they were en route to a title, rather. And as a result, it was like, yo, I paid Tayshaun this money. I still would have taken one of the three. It damn sure wouldn't have taken. I wouldn't have taken Darko Milicic. But at the same time,
after the Frederick Weiss debacle in New York,
when you consider this man's resume, you're talking about a guy that's proven as an executive. We never hear that name. But Phil Jackson, who never picked up a damn phone to make a deal because he was busy coaching, by the way, all of a sudden commands $10 to $12 million a year. He's been asleep at the wheel. He's been asleep at the job. And one of the great things is that I heard New Yorkers finally coming to their damn senses and booing this man the other night, because he deserves it.
I brought up Pat Riley earlier, and Phil Jackson's among the great coaches in that Lakers history, and so was Pat Riley. And for years, Phil Jackson had dusted Pat Riley, right? Like, he had just more success as a coach. Now do an analysis of who's coming out ahead, right? Like, because as an executive, would Pat Riley ever allow that to happen under his watch?
Pat Riley would never do that to a player.
Pat Riley Pat Riley was the guy who came off first with Mourning and Hardaway, then with Shaq and Wade, then with LeBron and Wade and Bosh, and because he cared about it, because he poured his heart and soul into it.
And he doesn't devalue players.
And
he doesn't devalue them publicly.
He
He would
the
not do that.
relationship, at least for a time, and Phil Jackson has made a mess of this.
Pat Riley doesn't have anybody worth noting. LeBron is gone. D. Wade is gone. You know, Chris Bosh is ailing, obviously, and he's not going to be there. And somehow, some way, the Miami Heat are on an 11-game winning streak. They're going this way, devoid of talent. They're going this way, which speaks to the greatness of Eric Spoelstra as a young coach, tutored by Pat Riley.
And the organization.
And
it's
the
a good
organization. First class organization.
Right.
This is a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
Speaking of the mess, we want you guys to weigh in at home. Whose side are you on here? Phil Jackson or Carmelo Anthony?
Is that our poll question?
Yeah, it's a question.
I can't believe that anybody would be. There can't be anybody that would be on Phil Jackson's side. There can't be.
Maybe it's 11 rings.
It should be 0%.
Listen, I'm with you, especially after listening to you two for the last 15 minutes, but there might be someone out there who's still on his team.
Yeah, I figured you'd say that. Do I get a couple of practice shots? No. Damn. He said no. Let me get your shirt so you come. He's the boss. I don't need saying. I'm not scared of you, man. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Let's go.
What happens when Stephen A. meets MVP candidate James Harden on the court? Let's just say what happens on the court doesn't stay on the court. Find out next Tuesday as we will get to see the two catch up. We're talking about Kevin Durant, right? Beating Warriors. Okay. What?
Can we ask folks not to watch that episode?
No,
is that
it's
possible?
next Tuesday right here.
You sure what you say next Wednesday, Thursday?
No, next Tuesday.
Wednesday, Thursday?
Tuesday, Stephen A. Lacing him up. Oh, I can't wait.
Is there any
Get
way,
your popcorn ready, kids.
Is there any way that we could keep from showing that video?
No.
No way.
Sorry, sweetheart.
No way.
It's out there.
No way. You can't look out for brother. I mean, we can't help me out.
I thought he tricked you into it. You asked for it.
Not really.
Maybe you're setting us up, and
Not
maybe you
really.
called.
Not really. Trust me when I tell you, I would deeply appreciate it if we didn't show that video. I really would. I really would. I mean, could y'all do a brother a favor? I mean, can we show me some love, please? Please? Pretty please?
It's up to
Good
Molly.
TV. It's good TV.
That damn James Harden. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him for this.
I can't wait. So that's Tuesday. It's going to be fun. Let's get into it right now. Then we're going to stay with the association and Kevin Durant, who will be making his first appearance as a visitor against the Thunder on Saturday, and says he expects the crowd to be rowdy. Durant also noted the, quote, fake drama that was created between he and Russell Westbrook in regards to a comment he made about the Warriors being unselfish. KD and Mark Stein, the floor is yours, gentlemen.
I know they're going to be, rowdy in there, man. I've been a part of some of the loudest nights in that arena, so I know it's not going to be the friendliest welcome, but like I said, I can't wait to see the people that I really built relationships with over my time there. And, I'm sure fans that I got to know throughout my time playing there, even though they might not cheer for me out loud, I'll give them a wink, and they know what we have deep down inside. So I realized that early on in the season, I was doing an interview with someone, and I used the word unselfish describing my teammates here, the Warriors, and someone asked Russell a question, asked if he heard what I said about being unselfish, and he phrased the question as if I was saying that the Thunder and their organization and the team was selfish. And once I heard that, I was like, well, they're trying to get in between this thing and make it bigger than what it is. Obviously Russell wasn't going to hear that interview I had about me just talking about my teammates I had now. And, and someone in Oklahoma City phrases to him as if I was calling them selfish. So, it's that easy. It's that easy for the media to twist something up and for the media to, make a feud between us.
That's just the appetizer there. You can see the full conversation with Durant tonight on SportsCenter after the Bulls and the Warriors game. Stephen A., what's Durant doing here?
Well, he's passing the buck. It's just that simple. First of all, major props to my man Mark Stein for getting the interview. He's doing an exceptional job covering the Warriors the way that he's done. Always proud of the work that he does. And Kevin Durant, to be fair, may be absolutely right as it pertains to that little nugget that he's pointing to. But the reason why I say he's passing the buck is because he's trying to use that point to generalize from a macro perspective in regards to what the media is trying to do. Exactly. The media ain't trying to do a damn thing, Kevin Durant. You did it when you left. And you didn't even have the decency to see him face to face, man to man, and tell him. Or, for that matter, pick up the phone and tell him. You decided that he was going to find out like everybody else found out with the news. And that's what put Russell Westbrook back. So, understand. Let's put this in perspective. And it's very, very important that we understand this. Because it's not like Kevin Durant. It's not the Kevin Durant that we know. He may not have been intentional in doing it. It may have been very, very hard for him just to look this guy in the face that he called his little brother all of these years and say, I'm leaving. But the reality is Kevin Durant's actions left Russell Westbrook hanging. I'm not talking about Russell Westbrook playing without him. I'm talking about he left Russell Westbrook hanging in terms of Russell Westbrook answering a bunch of questions as to why Kevin Durant left. For months, people were saying to Russell Westbrook, he left because of you. You still got people to this very day, including people on the Warriors who will remain nameless, who sat up there and said that man knew he could never win with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook's too selfish. Russell Westbrook doesn't want to pass the ball. Russell Westbrook wants to be the alpha male on the team. Kevin Durant ain't down with that. He wasn't going to win. Blah, 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 blah. This is what they said. So you put the character of Russell Westbrook under a microscope as if he were responsible for one of the top two greatest players on the planet departing from the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is what Kevin Durant did. He did that with no regard for how it would impact Russell Westbrook. We're just lucky that Russell Westbrook has been so professional that he has handled it with very little fanfare in terms of the quote that he's willing to give. But Kevin Durant, good person at all, great basketball ambassador, one of the top two players on the planet, that same Kevin Durant that I could sit here and praise till the cows come home, left his brother hanging. And you don't do that to your brother. That's what Kevin Durant did, so he can hide behind the media all he wants to, and he might be right with this little nugget right here in terms of that specific question and the quote about the selfishness and all of that stuff. But from a macro perspective, he's trying to blame the media for stuff that he is responsible for. Kevin Durant did that, nobody else.
So we largely have the same thing to say on this topic.
Sure.
I mean, when Durant says there was, they're trying to get in that space, the media is trying to get in that space, KD, why is there space there in the first place? There's space there in the first place because you left him high and dry when you left town. There's space there in the first place because one of the reasons you left, as I said at the time, the kind of mythology of hero ball that came from the Michael Jordan era is that, who's going to take the last shot? Who's going to be the so-called closer? And on the Warriors, it was pretty obvious that the guy who took the last shot was the open man. And that's the kind of basketball Durant wanted to play. He didn't want to play hero ball. He wanted to, if he's open, he'll take the shot. If Steph, if Clay, if Draymond's open, they'll take the shot. That appealed to him, and that is a less selfish way of playing. There's no getting around that.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I want you to finish your point.
And so when he's asked about the Warriors, they play very unselfishly. Steph Curry, as I keep mentioning, sets off-ball screens. How many superstars do that to the extent that he does? They do the little things, the unselfish things. There's not a clamor about who's going to take the last shot on that team. That appealed to Kevin Durant. Now, when you say that about Golden State, it will naturally be compared to where you came from, right? I mean, of course.
Yeah, it's going to look like a shot, even if it's not.
And it's an issue, and while I agree with you that Russell Westbrook has handled it perfectly so far, clearly that was an issue on the Oklahoma City Thunder. That it comes down to hero ball at the end. Will it be Durant or Westbrook? And Durant wasn't having that. So does it sound like a shot at Westbrook? Yes, but when you compare the two situations, of course it's a shot at Westbrook. There's no getting around that fact. So that when Durant says the media is trying to do something, kids, be careful, be very suspicious whenever you hear someone constantly blame the media, who, by and large, most members of the media, is there manipulation? Do we like it? all of us in the media went, oh, KD said selfish. He said unselfish about his team. Does that mean he said selfish about Oklahoma City? And we blow it up? Sure. But the vast majority of people in the media are just hardworking, doing their jobs type people.
This is
true. And it looks weak to blame the media.
It looks incredibly weaker when you're clearly and flagrantly the culprit in it all. Let's rewind the clock and just narrow it down. We're about to have some champions up in here. About to have some champions up in here. And I can't wait to talk to them. And it may not be about this, but we're going to talk about what the ingredients of a champion is, okay? Now, this is not football, which is far more complicated, and as far as I'm concerned, a greater team sport. In basketball, individual greatness can propel you to astronomical heights. We are talking about a Kevin Durant who is clearly top 2 in the world. You sit there and say, oh, they love the style of play of the Golden State Warriors or whatever the case may be. They were champions who were runner-ups in the finals, who were down 3-1 against you, came back and beat you, and you departed to go and play with the team that beat you. I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring that. I'm not ignoring the fact that you chose to go to the team that beat you when you were the individual that possibly cost them the trip to the finals. It was Kevin Durant, not just Westbrook. Kevin Durant didn't show up in that game 6. Right. All right, that game 7, he waited too late. Kevin Durant could have made the difference between him going to Golden State. Between them beating Golden State and he didn't do that. So you come up short. That's like Tom Brady coming up short against the Falcons and then saying, you know what, let me go join them. Let me go down to the ATL. Really?
No, it's worse. Then he doesn't tell anybody about it.
And he doesn't tell anybody. I want to hear that. That's what he did. And so what I'm saying to you is this. When we look at Kevin Durant and we want to compare him to LeBron, and LeBron left Cleveland. I'm saying he left Cleveland for Miami. He didn't tell anybody. That was personal stuff going on. He didn't feel like he had teammates. And on top of it all, he didn't have the greatest relationship with the owner. It was documented, so he decides to depart for South Beach. In the case of Kevin Durant, this is the dude that was hugging Russell Westbrook. This is my little brother, telling the media to be quiet, calling Mark Cuban an idiot, and all of this other stuff because of what he said about Russell Westbrook. And then after you lose, you turn up and you desert him like that?
I disagree with your characterization that it's that much different. Yes, Durant is joining a team that's already the formula has been baked in already, and he can just join it. And that's different than putting a super team together, as LeBron essentially did in Miami. However, the big picture is LeBron said he wanted to go to a place where he could win as many titles as possible, and didn't just go to Miami, but joined Chris Bosh.
Stop that.
Going to Miami.
Don't compare the two.
It was basically the same thing.
Don't compare the two.
It was a superstar looking for an unfair talent advantage in order to win a championship.
I've covered the NBA.
Basically the same.
I've covered the NBA for 20 years. Can I get the last word on this?
Of course.
LeBron departs for Miami. He, Wade, and Bosh never, ever played together until they arrived. Kevin Durant joined a machine. The Splash Brothers already won a title. With Draymond Green already went to back-to-back titles.
Already won a title.
They already had. No, I'm talking about they played together.
Yeah, that's it. It makes it.
That's a big deal.
Not the big picture.
That's a big deal.
We've got no chill today.
Pachulia knocks down Westbrook, then stands over him. He hit me on the heart. Sorry, I'm going to get his back. I'm going to play that game.
Russell Westbrook promised to pay Zaza Pachulia back for a hard foul. On the same night, he announced he no longer speaks with Kevin Durant. Don't miss the fireworks this Saturday night in Oklahoma City when they go head-to-head again.
Here's Westbrook. Two-hand jam.
The Warriors and Thunder. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern on ABC and on ESPN Radio.
The champs are here. Joining us now, Patriots wide receivers Malcolm Mitchell and Chris Hogan in the house. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
I know you probably still haven't gotten any sleep, so I've been dying to ask this. Now, if anybody can pull off a comeback in the Super Bowl, of course, it's the Patriots, it's Tom Brady. It's the third quarter, 2 minutes left. It's still 28-3. So I want to know what the conversation was at halftime and what was on your mind once you got deep into the third quarter and still hadn't had a touchdown.
To be honest with you, there wasn't a lot said at halftime. You know, we knew we didn't play the greatest, first half of football that we've done and played in a while. So, we knew we had to go out and make some plays. We made the adjustments. Bill, Josh, they came and talked to us what they were doing. We knew what we had to do. And, a lot of the guys were just, talking to ourselves, amongst ourselves, saying that, you know, this is gonna be one heck of a story. You know,
what were they doing when you say this is what they're doing? We knew what we had to do. What were those things that were different?
They were playing. I mean, they played a lot of man. It became a man game. You know, so Tom talking to us and talking to receivers. You know, we knew we were gonna have to make some plays, you know, on the outside. You know, with James White did an awesome job, you know, throughout the entire game. You know, it ended up being a majority passing game. So. You know, we knew we were just going to have to go out there and make some plays.
Did you have doubts, though? At any point were you like, come on, how the heck are we going to do this?
I'll say being a rookie, I think it was essential for me to look around at the leaders, such as Chris, and see their vibe. And when I say everybody's head was held high, nobody had doubted ourselves. We didn't think we lost the game. We thought we still had time to go out there and give it 120%.
Let me interject, because I get that. You got to be confident, no doubt. But it wasn't just that you were down 21-0. It was that pick 6 by Tom Brady, which had never happened. You trying to tell me even when that happened, y'all had no doubts whatsoever?
It was tough. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we were down the red zone twice, and we had a couple turnovers. You know, that's tough. You know, when you turn the ball over like that in a big game, I mean, you know, your percentages go down. You know, winning football games, but. You know, that's the great thing about that team, you know, this locker room, the guys in that locker room. You know, you looked around like, yeah, I mean, we were a little bummed. I mean, we didn't play a great half of football, but there was no quit in anyone.
When Tom Brady, y'all said Tom came and spoke to y'all in the locker room at halftime, got the receivers. What exactly did he say to y'all?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I remember Tom coming to the receivers and telling us he's going to need us to start making some plays for him. And obviously, as a team, we needed to make plays all together.
How does that work? Like, you look at Dion Lewis, had that big game where he catches one, he runs one back, he runs one in. Yeah. Then it's James White, right? Like, you know, maybe Tom Brady. Was James White the MVP, by the way, real quick? Was he the MVP? Or Tom Brady says he was the real MVP. Was he the MVP of that game?
He played awesome, I think, yeah.
Yeah? So how do you do that as a New England Patriot? The culture is like team, and everyone's very disciplined in where they're supposed to be, but I imagine you need some ego to ball. And everyone has their day when they ball, and they must be feeling themselves. How do you balance that on that team? I need you guys to make these plays for me, and guys are making incredible plays, and yet remain disciplined enough to just do what you're supposed to do.
I mean, I think that's just the culture of that locker room. Yeah. You know, everyone. I mean, you know, everyone's gonna have their day. You know, to make some plays, and you know, James White, that was his day to make the plays, and Tom and him were on the same page the entire game, and you know, it's just about that culture of just really, I mean, do your job and find a way to win, and I mean, that's really what it is, to be honest with you. And all those guys are willing to do whatever it takes to win a football game.
Before we let you get out of here, you know. I always hesitated to put Tom Brady #1 because I'm a Joe Montana guy. That ended Sunday. I think Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, I'm done. I'm not fighting it anymore. I concede he's the greatest ever. I am sitting across from a man who says that your quarterback, who is the league MVP, I'm sorry, who's not league MVP, who is the Super Bowl MVP, your quarterback, Tom Brady, is going to fall off a cliff within the next 12 months,
that's right.
And he's not going to be what he is, which is the best.
He doesn't really mean it.
By the way, I already had him as the greatest quarterback of all time. I didn't need this Super Bowl to call him the greatest quarterback of all time.
We're talking about the clip.
But yes, in the next 12 months, and the reason I say it is no one's ever balled after the age of 41.
It's no chance, man. The guy's a machine. I mean, I think he just keeps getting better, you know, as he gets older. I mean, it's incredible to see how, you know, what he's able to do.
But you guys aren't worried at all? Peyton Manning got better as he got older, too. Peyton Manning got better as he got older, too.
They do not look worried.
Damn it.
Chris, Malcolm, congratulations. Thank you guys so much. We're going to let you.
Mama Mitchell. We got to say hi to Mama Mitchell.
Yes.
We got to say hi to Mama Mitchell. Say hi to Mama Mitchell, man.
Please say hi.
There we go. That's right. Say hi. She got love for the show. Love
we
her.
love it. We love
Take care of the mamas on first day.
She's going to really appreciate that.
There you go.
Oh, she raised a great son. Last thing, really quick. Best day of your life. It's your first Super Bowl ring.
Never had a feeling like this before. That's for sure.
I'm jealous. Congratulations, guys. Love or hate Green trying to fire up KD?
I like it. I don't love it or hate it. I like it. I like it because there's a vacuum there. He's the motivator on the team. I'm going to get to that in a second. But there is a vacuum.
Okay.
Before I get to the vacuum, let me say that there are teams throughout history where that motivator, that enforcer of the kind of culture of the team is not the best player. Bill Laimbeer, or even a guy who's really good but on a stacked team like Singletary, right, for the Bears. That guy can be the enforcer of the culture. He can be the vocal one. He can be the motivator. And that's what Draymond Green is for the Warriors. But Draymond Green's not only that. Draymond Green's also the leader of the team. And that's okay, too. He's a very good player. He's good enough to be the leader of some teams. But the issue with Golden State, when you really think about it, how could they possibly lose even last year to LeBron and the Cavs? How might they lose this year, if that's even possible, if you can imagine that? It's that that character I just described is not one of the best two players on the team. He's not even LeBron and Wade that first year in Miami had some problems because LeBron was the best player, but Wade was the leader. Even that dynamic caused some problems, or maybe even OKC. Durant's the best player, but Westbrook's the leader. But here, neither Steph nor Durant is that guy. It's not even Clay. It's Draymond Green, who at best is the fourth best player on the team. And that speaks to a weakness of the team, I think, to tell you the truth. So I don't hate it because Draymond is filling the vacuum. And because players of his caliber have been that guy on teams who've won championships. But he's more than just the motivator or the enforcer of the culture. He's also the de facto leader because the best two guys, I don't think, are.
It's a simple answer to this question. If you want the Golden State Warriors to win, you absolutely, positively love what Draymond Green did and what he said. If you don't want them to win, you hate it because what you saw Draymond Green doing with Kevin Durant is why Kevin Durant's about to win an NBA championship. That's why. Because what you have is somebody who is qualified to get in his face and demand from him the greatness that we all know is inside of him. Nobody on OKC was in a position to do that. Russell Westbrook, as great as he is, was still a head case in terms of youth. So as a result, even though he was the alpha male in terms of his competitive fervor, that old school competitive fervor that Paul Pierce swears only him and DeMarcus Cousins has in today's NBA game, compare that to whatever you see everywhere else. It's just non-existent. It's one of those situations where you're Kevin Durant. I'm going to say this again. I don't care where you go in the world. Outside of LeBron James, you can't find another player better than Kevin Durant. And some could argue as a talent, Kevin Durant is like the Aaron Rodgers to LeBron James, Tom Brady. So when you look at it from that perspective, you have to think about what Draymond Green is doing here. Draymond Green is no scrub. Draymond Green, you brought up Bill Laimbeer. You know what made them so valuable? You know why they were able to be leaders? Because they were willing to do the dirty work you weren't willing to do. It's not about talent sometimes when it comes to leadership. It's about what are you willing to do to elevate us to the promised land? What sacrifices are you willing to make? All in the interest of winning. You have a situation where at Draymond Green, Game 7, NBA Finals last year, 32, 15, and 9. He shows up when it counts. In the throes of everything, he's also willing to put in the dirty work. He's willing to get his hands dirty. He's willing to get his feet dirty. He's willing to do a whole bunch of stuff. And what he said was Kevin Durant, by getting in his face, he is letting Kevin Durant know that no matter how great you are, that wasn't good enough. That's why you're here.
You're wrong on a couple counts.
Hold on. That's why you're here. Because what your greatness is, it wasn't good enough. That's why you're here now. And this is what is required in order for you to capture the chip.
And if he was the best or second best player on the team, that would be more effective.
He doesn't have to be.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it didn't work last year, did it?
Who?
Draymond actually got himself suspended in Game 5.
Well,
that's your
true.
leader. That fiery guy the fiery guy is fine. He can be that. Yeah. But he's not just the fiery guy. He's also the leader of the team.
But we're talking about the conversation.
So there's two things you're wrong about.
We're not talking about him getting ejected. We're talking about the conversation with Durant.
Right. And I'm expanding it to point out the weakness on the Golden State Warriors. If they win, it will not be because Kevin Durant has finally figured out that whatever's inside him has to come out. It'll be because they have an overwhelming talent advantage coupled against the rest of the league, including the Cavs, coupled with an excellent strategic system. That's why eventually they went to Game 7 and barely lost at home last year without Kevin Durant. Then they they added Kevin Durant. It just may be too much for the rest of the league.
I disagree.
Whoever had to go to Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson to try to draw that out of them? No one had to.
We know that.
Either you have that, and that's part of who you are, or you don't. Kevin Durant went to Golden State partly because, as I keep saying, he doesn't want to worry about who takes the last shot. He wants the open man to take the last shot. And if that's him, that's the way basketball probably should be played.
Look,
and if that's Kevin Durant, then he's fine taking it. But the idea that there's some kind of requisite fire that Draymond's going to draw out of him, that's a flawed idea. How is that flawed? It points out precisely the weakness of this team. Neither Steph nor Durant is that kind of personality, and those are the two best players.
First of all,
I'm not saying it can't work, but it is a weakness when your fourth best player got to try to drag that out of you.
First of all, Steph does have that dog in him. Make no mistake about it. Steph Curry has that dog in him. Don't think for 1 second that he doesn't have an assassin's mentality. We have seen it. We have witnessed it.
He's underperformed in consecutive finals.
He's underperformed in consecutive finals. Last year he was hurt. You and I both know it.
Oh, I agree.
Last year he was hurt, okay? But he has...
and the finals before wasn't terrible.
Hold on. Forget all of that. He has underperformed in NBA finals. That is fair. But he does have that dog in him because we've seen it in postseason competition. We've seen it when people have gotten in his face and tried to challenge him, and he's...
LeBron screamed on him. He's walked away.
That's one guy, Max.
Yes, that's the number one guy you got to beat.
I said playoffs. Well, you have to beat him now. You
None
beat
of
him
those other
before.
guys matter if you're Steph.
Forget all that
Only
because I want to
LeBron
get to my
matters.
other point. I want to get to my other point because LeBron is 6'8", 250, locomotive, and he got in the little dude's face.
You think Isaiah Thomas cared about that?
Excuse me. Isaiah Thomas had the bad boys to help intimidate him.
You think if he didn't, he'd care?
Let me ask you a question. First of all, I'm going to say this again. Isaiah Thomas had bad boys with him. No one got in Isaiah Thomas's face but so much because they would have to deal with Mahorn and Lambert and Sally and Rodman and James Edwards. Oh, stop it. I'm telling you what I know. I'm not debating this. The point that I'm trying to make to you, the bad boys, you had that around you. That's not Golden State. All you have is Draymond. And what Draymond is saying to Kevin Durant is, this ain't about your skill because we know what you can do. It's about you having that little dog inside of you.
Either you got it or you don't. No one can talk you into that.
No, wait a minute. When Kevin Durant being 6'11", with a 7'6" wingspan, who can pull up from 30, who's got a handle, who can average 30 in his sleep, you might not have to be the rough rider, but you do have to have that little something inside of you at the moment it's called for. Now, he says, quietly, not publicly, he said, hard for me to do with Russell Westbrook. Draymond is like, you don't have that excuse now. We don't want to hear that.
That's
so
why
that's what
I
I'm
like
saying.
it. By the way,
Which is why you should love it.
No,
that's why you should love
it because Draymond is doing what he has to do. That's the appropriate thing for him to do. That's why I like it. But I don't love it because it points out a larger issue with Golden State. If that wasn't the issue with Golden State even before Durant, they'd have won last year. They have the greatest half-court offense in the history of basketball by far, and they couldn't score a basket in the last 4.5 minutes at home in Game 7.
But that's the point.
And now they got Durant. He's the same kind of guy.
I'm trying to answer your question.
It wasn't a question.
The point is it's Game 7. Without that, they were in Game 7 of a back-to-back NBA Finals appearance. So if that's all the difference is, and a conversation that may be uncomfortable with Kevin Durant is all it takes, you can't sit there and say that might be a bad thing.
No, I like it. I'm not saying I like it.
There's more we want to get to, guys. And speaking of the finals and Durant, we were thinking about the backlash he would get if the Warriors didn't win the title, and then the praise LeBron James would get if he and the Cavs were to repeat as champs with that new super team. Do you think there's more upside in LeBron winning or in Durant losing the title, Max?
In more downside for Durant losing or upside for LeBron winning? It's actually upside for LeBron winning. And I reject the comparison of LeBron to Brady and Durant to Aaron Rodgers, because LeBron's actually more talented than Durant. I mean, Durant's a more talented scorer, that's all. LeBron is a brilliant passer on the level of a Magic or a Bird, Jason Kidd type brilliant passer, but in a power forward's body, who's also like the fastest guy end-to-end in the NBA. I mean, the measurables, big and strong, the whole thing, and can score, and can shoot better than advertised. LeBron's the most talented and the best, and the biggest winner at this point in the NBA. I don't think Durant's in his class. But I'll say this. If LeBron, after an historic finals performance without Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving, who took the Warriors 6 games in a Jordan-esque performance without those guys, And then he got those guys back and beat a 73-win team down 3-1 and beat them on their home floor in Game 7 by blocking a shot and then icing the game with a free throw on a bad wrist after he missed the first free throw, made an adjustment, clutch on the line. If LeBron James beats this Warriors team that improved over last year with Kevin Durant, he is squarely back in the Michael Jordan conversation. If Durant loses, that's bad. But we cut guys some slack first year on a super team. Just like, I know it's different because they've already won together. Even
I don't know about this super team.
He's going to get cut some slack in this sense, Molly. He'll get killed this year. Yeah. But then he'll be back next year and the year after that. And eventually they'll win a couple championships. And it will be a mark against them the way it's a mark against LeBron in Miami. But eventually you can cover over that. But if LeBron wins this, the sky's the limit. The upside is infinite if he beats this Warriors team after having beaten it last year and wins the rubber match. Game, set, match, LeBron.
First of all, you're wrong. Secondly, you don't know that to be true because what if the Cleveland Cavaliers found a way to get Melo without having to give up Love or Kyrie? Then will we be saying that? No. Yes. So let's wait until the trading deadline transpires, see what happens, and then maybe we're able to make that proclamation. But there is no doubt that this would be a catastrophic, devastating blow to Kevin Durant if he were to lose this game. Let me get this straight. You are up 3-1 in a Western Conference Finals. You lose Game 5. You choke in Game 6. You show up too late in Game 7. After hugging your little brother and telling him we're going to come back and get them next year, you depart for the very team that beat you a month later. After you do that, the very next season, you go to that team who won an NBA championship, who's been the back-to-back NBA Finals with the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of basketball, with Draymond Green and Livingston and Iguodala and the crew still there. The only difference is you in replacing Andrew Bogut and Harrison Barnes, and you lose in the finals to the Cleveland Cavaliers or earlier. It would be disastrous. Kevin Durant could never shake that.
No, it would be huge.
Oh, no.
There's no denying.
I want to hear that.
There was no denying that would be a tragedy of epic proportions for Durant.
Stop right there. Well, tragedy of epic proportions.
Wait.
Tragedy of epic
proportions. There's no denying it. The reason it's an interesting question is there's also no denying the enormous upside for LeBron. And what we're doing here is debating which would be bigger. And I'm telling you, the biggest prize in all of sports, that's across every single sport, is Michael Jordan, who is the Michael Jordan of basketball.
That's true.
That's Michael Jordan. And LeBron's chasing the highest mark in the history of known men, athletic competition on earth. Michael Jordan. That's the biggest prize there is. Durant, on the other hand.
I'm getting to the point where I don't even like talking basketball with you at certain moments because I cannot believe some of the things that you say. So LeBron James, 4 NBA Finals losses is going to be mentioned in the same breath as Michael Jordan.
If he just beat the 73-win team. He just beat the 73-win Warriors down 3-1 on their home court in the last possession of the game.
You know what, guys? I think we should.
And here's the end of it.
Max,
this is not Durant's only. This is not Durant's only shot to win a championship with Golden State. If he never wins a championship with Golden State, that's one thing. But just this year, he'll survive.
Now welcome some more champs here. Dante Hightower, Rob Ninkovich. Thank you guys so much for being with us. And congratulations, #2 for both of you.
Thank you.
I want to start with you, Dante, though. When you made that strip sack, were you like, okay, now it's on, this is the moment, and we can come back and do this?
Absolutely. Before we even got to the locker room, Durant Harmon was just kind of preaching on the sideline, man, this is gonna be a legendary comeback. It's gonna be something to tell our kids one day. And so nobody ever really gave up. We went at halftime knowing that we needed to make a play. We made our adjustments. We was able to do that. And first play coming back out, guys was just ready to go. And we had a TFL or a no gain, and then we just kind of fed off of that, and the wheel just started spinning.
Coming into the game, it looked like everybody was talking about Atlanta's offense. You looked at the Patriots and you knew that you could beat them, but at the same time, you're like, how you gonna stop these guys? I had you guys winning 38-34 because I was saying, how they gonna just completely stop this offense with Matt Ryan, with that backfield, with Julio Jones and Sanu and Gabriel? What was y'all attitude like coming into the game? How much were y'all worried about their offense?
We knew what they have. They have a great offense. Obviously, they have a great quarterback, great receiving crew, and then obviously their backs is a two-headed monster. So, We knew it was going to be hard, but what we did a lot of the year was, not necessarily trying to stop guys, but making it hard for guys to score, making it hard for guys to be productive, and making guys do things that they're not usually doing.
Rob, Dante talks about halftime adjustments. That's something that's really interesting in this game from an observer's point of view, because it was two different games. They were getting you offensively and defensively, and in the second half, they couldn't get a win offensively, defensively, special teams. It seemed like Coach Belichick he did something at half. Something happened at the half. What were those adjustments?
Well, we came in at half, and I think everyone had the understanding of, we go out there and we play like we did in the first half and the second half, we're going to lose this game.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go out like that, especially the way it was going. It was almost embarrassing. It was a feeling of like, this isn't going to happen to us because we're a better team than this. And we made the adjustments.
What were they?
Again, there's multiple things that early in the game, they were able to run the ball. We had to stop the run. That was something that we knew, that the running backs were fast and they're very explosive. And I give both of them credit. They're both very good running backs. The first play, just how explosive Freeman is, it was amazing. So again, just coming into the halftime and really just regrouping and understanding that the first half is over, it's halftime. Let's just reset. And the second half is a completely different game. It's a new game. So you almost had to just restart a new game for the second half and forget about the first half. And we knew that if all three phases played together and for each other, one play at a time. It was going to take one play at a time, because if you start thinking, okay, 5 plays from now, what happened last play, it's not going to work. So that one play at a time mentality and everyone coming together, heart, mental toughness, everything.
No, I'm going to get to the worry factor in one more sense. I'm done debating Tom Brady. He's the greatest ever. I can't deny it anymore. I'm trying to hold on to Montana. I just can't do it. Not after what I saw Sunday. He's the best ever. But when you saw Tom Brady throw that pick six, it's one thing when other guys make mistakes, but this dude is pretty close to flawless in postseason. The higher, the bigger the moment, the more this dude shows up. The attitude that you guys had at that particular moment in time when Tom Brady threw that pick six was what?
Shit, we got to have his back.
We got to go. We got to get the ball back to him.
It's been countless times. I've only been here for 5 years. There's been countless times where Tom has pulled the defense, threw us a ladder, threw us a rope. So, it's football. It's part of it. And, I think that's part of having a good team, is being able to whenever the other side of the ball is having adversity, the other side being able to stand up and bring the other side with it. And that's been the story kind of this season.
The wide receivers said that Tom Brady spoke to them. Did he say anything to the defense at halftime? Anything at all?
No. There was no rah-rah. There was no, we got to go. There was none of that. We knew that we played bad. We knew that there was going to be adjustments, and we knew that whatever those adjustments was, that we had to be perfect, and we wasn't perfect, then there was no chance.
What I imagine did speak to the defense is when Collins was traded in the middle of the season, when the defense looked good, and you guys are always a powerhouse, and here you go again, and it's not like you guys are struggling in the season. Then all of a sudden, the guy who, from afar, it was like, boy, that guy can ball, gets traded. What kind of effect does that have on the team, especially the defense?
Well, I think that in this game, we all understand that there's certain things that are out of your control, and you can't control them. And if you try to think about it and control it, it's not going to help your game and how you play. So, for us, I think the best thing that we do is we just come to work every week as a group, and we just try to reset each week as a new week. After
is that why the
win,
Patriots seem like a different, one of the things that I imagine is impossible preparing for the Patriots if you're another team is it's a different team week to week, depending on what you are.
The NFL, it's about matchups. It's about scheme. It's about, what teams are running. So you have to be smart. You have to adjust. You have to adapt. You have to have players that can adjust. You have to have players that can play multiple positions. And I think that our coaching staff does a great job of understanding what talent, where guys need to be, what guys can play certain roles, and that's why the Patriots have been good for so long. I think we have a great group of guys on top of a great great group of coaches who understand how to put us in the best position, and then you got the best coach of all time.
Last thing, and then you guys have to go. You both won one Super Bowl before in 2014. What is the difference, though, winning this? You had the Deflategate drama earlier this season, and then that type of comeback. How much sweeter was this one than your first?
A million times. I mean, obviously, you know, the first time of anything is overwhelming. But, you know, again, like you said, for the adversity that we had in the first 4 games, and then, you know, having 3 different quarterbacks, and obviously not having Rob, and having guys, you know, put in certain situations who weren't ready at the time, but, you know, it didn't matter. And the way that they responded and how well they did obviously showed, you know, how well of a team we are, chemistry. And, I mean, it just means a lot. And I know it means a lot for Tom and, you know, what he's going through. And, it just feels good to bring him back.
That's life. You know, like, there's going to be adversity. There's ups and downs. There's things that hit you you're not ready for. And you look back on them, you're like, wow, that was a blessing. I'm a stronger person mentally than I ever was, you know, because of those ups and downs and those obstacles. So this team, the mental toughness, the heart, you know, it really showed in that game.
I can't even front. I'm a Steelers fan. And I'm a native New Yorker, and I'm proud of y'all.
Yes. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
I'm a Giants fan and a native New Yorker, and I hate you both.
Yo, everybody get up! Everybody get up! Everybody needs to understand that I'm more than simply a hype man for this rap group. Just like Geico is more than just a company that can save you money. Geico also has fast and friendly claim service, so they can help you when you need it most. And while I do love being a hype man, I also love reading for children's audiobooks. Like Little Bo Peep, she lost a sheep, and she don't know where to find them. Yo!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Our next guest is a legend in the game. Eric Braeden has played Victor Newman on The Young and the Restless for 37 years. He does not look like it, though, let me tell you. He's here to promote his new memoir, I'll Be Damned, How My Young and Restless Life Led Me to America's #1 daytime drama, which features a foreword by our own Stephen A. Smith. Very cool. Please welcome Eric Braeden to the desk. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. You know, it's a pleasure sitting here. I watch this damn show all the time.
You do?
Well, Stephen A. and now Max.
Yeah.
Did you lose a bet? How did that happen?
So, where are the cameras?
It's following you. Trust me.
Yeah.
You're live on the air, my man.
Are you serious?
Yes, yes, you are.
The cameras anywhere.
Yep, there's cameras.
I don't
worry.
act until I see the camera.
You don't need to act. Tell us about this book.
That book is written from the heart, you know, and covers my long history growing up in wartime Germany under the bombs. The city I was born in was 96% destroyed by the end of the war. They threw about 500,000 bombs on it during the war. So I grew up with a lot of noise, a lot of scary moments. And then it goes to my coming to America at the age of 18. I just turned 18. And I remember the viewing at 6 in the morning of the Statue of Liberty coming into New York Harbor and seeing the skyline. For a little boy from Germany, that is incredible. And that was the vision that most immigrants who came to America had. It's an overwhelming vision.
What made you write this book now?
I've been prevailed upon by a number of writers who had interviewed me and my family, and my age, I'm 49 now. And so one thing led to the other. I have very strong political views, as you know, but I didn't get into that too much in the book because you offend too many people if you do. I love sports. I'd won the German Youth Championship in discus and javelin and shot put before I came to America, and then won the U.S. Championship in soccer in 1973. And I love American sports. Love football, basketball, track and field, love boxing, your bailiwick, and love to listen to you rant and rave about all kinds of people. Love it. You have an eloquence, both of you. So eloquent. I mean, you never miss a beat. That is incredible. I got to give you kudos for that. You know, you're a bad man.
I'm gonna roll with that, Max. I'm gonna roll with that. Max, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that, Max. I'm gonna take it.
And I understand you were a Lakers fan. Why were?
Do I need to explain that?
Yes. You do.
When Jerry Buss was there, the Lakers were, you all know that,
yeah.
Wonderful team.
Uh-huh.
And then the mythical father died. And then the old Greek mythological story of the son trying to undo the father. And what he did stupidly is throw out all the people who were associated with Jerry Buss, with the father. Magic was gone, Jerry Buss was gone. None of them were consulted. Because little boy had been hurt by them. He had been ignored by them. So he is taking revenge, I think, on the success of the father.
What culpability does the father have here, though? Because, I say this because, I was just in L.A. doing a radio show, largely about the Lakers, for almost 6 years. He left his dying wish, and the way he structured the team was that Jim, his son, would be in charge of the personnel decisions and Jeannie the business. And in order for the Lakers to succeed going forward, those two would have to have a relationship where they communicated with one another. Almost as though, look, here's the franchise and this should keep the family together. But in so doing, because they haven't been communicating, the franchise sunk.
And it's essentially tragic. In other words, I understand the father's wish to bequeath all of what he has accomplished onto his son. And I sort of understand, I guess, the father's desire to say, to hell with all of that, I make my own mark. And he has made it disastrously. So the point is that one is no longer interested in the Lakers, couldn't care less, don't care anymore. That's sad.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the fact that Jeannie Buss has decided to now bring back Magic Johnson as a consultant? And do you wish Phil Jackson was back there in any capacity?
To be frank with you, I do indeed.
Phil?
Phil should be back. Oh. Why shouldn't he?
In what capacity?
I know that you, obviously, because of his experience with the Knicks, don't have too high of an opinion of
as an executive,
what he has done.
Not the coach. He's a great coach.
He should be a coach. He should be a coach.
Okay.
Smoke a joint or two and sit on the bench and, be a coach. What the hell? So, you understand? Hey, man. You understand? So, that would be wonderful. And Jeannie should be in charge. That's my opinion.
Do you like the fact that Magic Johnson is back as a consultant?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Wonderful.
See, as a consultant,
man brings such light and energy into any organization. Wonderful.
But as a consultant, I wish he was more empowered, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if him being a consultant does anything for the Lakers.
Well, what else could he be? The GM?
Yeah, I'd say I wish he gave him control of basketball operations.
But aren't you worried?
Does he want that job?
That's a good question.
Aren't you worried, even with Phil Jackson back as a coach, that the league has changed so much as a result of rules changes and the new style of play, the spread, pick-and-roll style of play? Even when the Lakers went back-to-back most recently, there was some triangle, but there was a lot of pick-and-roll, that maybe the game has, the style of play has passed Phil by?
I don't know enough about the subtleties of basketball. All I can tell you is that Phil Jackson came back, Magic came back in one capacity or another. That would uplift L.A. enormously. Even if Phil Jackson was not that good of a coach anymore, who knows? I don't know. Do you know?
That Phil Jackson can't coach it?
Has the game changed that much?
It has changed a bit, yes. It has changed. The style of play has changed a lot, and Phil's ideas aren't so efficient anymore, it seems.
And Phil's allergic to coaching a team where he has to where he's devoid of a superstar. He doesn't want any parts of that. Yeah. He got to have at least one superstar for him to want the job.
You're talking about Michael Jordan and
Kobe.
Later on Kobe and all that.
That's right.
I see. Well, but doesn't that apply to almost any coach? You want to be successful in sports, you need to have a good coach, but the coach needs to have damn good players. I don't care who you are. If you have mediocre players, you can't go very far. That's all.
Speaking of damn good players and superstars and super teams, Kevin Durant joining the Warriors. Are you with your friend over here that was the weakest move he's ever seen?
By a superstar. You're on the record, Eric.
Well, do you want to live in Oklahoma City?
Running.
No.
Would you want to live in Oklahoma?
No.
Well, then, would you rather live on the West Coast?
I'm not talking about
the sun shines all the time. Well,
he could have went a few places. He could have went to San Antonio.
He could have gone to
LA.
LA.
He could have went to Miami. He could have went to LA.
That's right.
He could have went to several places.
He should have gone to LA.
Which one? Which
Jim Bosh should have exited as Durant came in.
So he should have went to the Lakers, not the Clippers.
No, not the Clippers.
Why not?
I don't like the Clippers.
Well, what's wrong with the Clippers?
The Clippers are very good. I don't like them.
This man is correct. He has impeccable taste.
They are interlopers in L.A.
Right.
I have never really, couldn't stand the original owner. Couldn't stand him. Sterling, was that his name?
Yeah, yes. Donald Sterling.
Couldn't stand the guy.
Me neither.
And I'm an old Laker fan. I've watched the Lakers since 1962, when Chick Hearns was sitting there at a wooden table in the old sports arena, commenting on the game.
What is, given the fact that there's some apathy about the Lakers now in L.A. generally, what excites you most about it? I see that you're a careful observer about sports before we even went on air. You were making astute observations about boxing. What right now in all of sports excites you the most, interests you the most?
That's a hell of a question. I want to see Mayweather fight McGregor.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to see that?
Yes.
But that's an exhibition.
No, it's not.
No. Let me tell you something. I have enormous respect for boxers. Done it myself. I boxed in the ghetto gyms of L.A. on 78th and Hoover. It doesn't exist anymore. 108th and Broadway. Bill Slayton was the owner of that gym, and Kenny Norton used to work out there, and Michael Dokes and all those people.
Yeah.
Have enormous respect for boxing. Unbelievable, deep respect. But UFC, that's another dimension.
So you mean compete in a ring or the octagon?
The octagon.
Well,
no.
Wait a minute. McGregor's not just going to box him.
Oh, well then Mayweather has no shot.
No, 1 second. If he boxes him, that's a joke.
Right.
He needs to go boom.
But isn't it equally a joke if they are in the octagon?
That's right. Why would you want Mayweather in an octagon? That's very unfair.
You want to put him in a triangle?
Well, why would you want McGregor in a ring?
Because he thinks he can beat Mayweather.
What?
He thinks all he has to do is catch catch Mayweather, and Mayweather will fall. Mayweather knows there's nowhere on earth he needs to be in an octagon with McGregor, but McGregor thinks he can step in a boxing ring against Mayweather.
That's ridiculous.
I agree. We got to put him in a hexagon. Split the difference.
If McGregor only boxes against Mayweather, he doesn't stand a chance. Right. Not a chance.
Well,
Mayweather is the most elusive, technically brilliant fighter I remember.
Of all time.
Watched them all. I think of all time.
We got to leave it there, guys. To the Smile, Stephen A. We're back here with Eric Braeden of The Young and the Restless.
I got to tell you, that is a fantastic intro.
Thank you.
Right?
Except it's on the wrong, on your show it is. Right. You're not doing that on General Hospital, are you?
No.
You better not, Brick. Better not. You better come to my show. All right?
Well, you know, I can,
no, wait a minute.
Cameo.
I want you to be my henchman from now.
Wait. I can't. I can't.
All right,
I want you to be my executioner.
Okay, so as you just saw, Stephen A. is quite the soap opera star, quite the thespian like yourself. We want you to critique him and help him out a little bit. So I'm going to show you a few clips. He's been on General Hospital quite a few times, as you know. So here's a clip of Stephen A. on the show playing a reporter way back in 2007.
Pull those reporters back. Keep them back. Is it true that Sonny Carruthers and his family are among the hostages?
What the hell are you talking about?
Gunmen stormed the hotel lobby. We're hearing that they tried to take Sonny's wife. Will this trigger a mob war?
Get the hell out of my face.
Mac! Your voice was a little higher back then, Eric.
It's a little bit different. Well, let me tell you something. You are a real dude. In other words, you play yourself. The trick in acting, the trick in becoming successful in our business, is to play as much from your core as possible. Don't try to imitate anyone else. You're you. That makes a star. Except, my man, you're on the wrong damn show. In the wrong show.
You know, listen, I grew up watching General. I've been watching General Hospital for 40 years, man.
What?
But I've been watching for General Hospital for 40 years. You're my man, so now I try to get into some Y&R too. But, you know, I mean, General Hospital is what I did.
I can see you already as my henchman, Victor Newman's executioner.
You're already getting multiple offers? This is his ego is going to explode, Eric.
Then eventually what we can do is put a mustache on you. You take over my part. I sit there. Max and I will.
We can work that out. We might be able to work that out.
We can talk about it. So, Eric, that was just a quick cameo. Now I want to show you his true character now, Brick, the recurring role that he plays on General Hospital, and get your thoughts on his progress.
You mean you're playing it without that?
You're a bad man, Brick.
What did you expect?
From you, only the best. What happens next?
When the DA gets a call from Rivera, you'll be the first to know.
DA's nervous. Rivera's even more nervous.
Damn right they're nervous. They pissed you off.
Okay, Rivera just hung up, but he's gonna call back. Great job.
Always a pleasure, Sonny. Always a pleasure.
You know, I wanted to make fun of this. I can't. You're good. You are good. I got to tell you. And you're also playing with a very good actor. Maurice Bernard is a wonderful actor. So, but you're good. You're real. The biggest trick in our business is to be real as you can be, given the phony parameters within which we work. That's tough, you know. So get on the Greyhound bus and come out to L.A.
Well, we definitely entertained coming out to L.A. for different reasons, but I definitely squeezed in an opportunity to moonlight. You know, as a soap opera dude. That wouldn't bother me at all.
We may have to be, first take basis, may have to be in L.A. half the month.
I think so.
Through the winter.
I think so.
Maybe we should just be in L.A. January through April.
Yeah, snowbirds, yeah.
All joking aside, I'm impressed. I really am.
One more for you.
Yes?
One more. So our final clip, this is from last week, and it got a little heated between Brick and some other henchmen.
All you got to do is point and listen. The infrared beam will pick up just about everything else.
Almost everything, though, right?
Didn't I just say that? I said almost everything. You can't understand the difference.
Oh, my bad. I was just trying to, find out its limitations for me and my partner, that's all. But it does need a window, right?
I was getting to that. Yes, it needs a window to work. Put that down.
They taped our morning meeting.
That was Billy Miller in the background.
Yes.
He came from our show. He's a wonderful actor as well.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by good people.
Yeah.
But it ain't Young and Restless. So you're still in the wrong place.
Well, listen, here's the way I look at it. Maurice Bernard, fabulous actor. Plays Sonny Corinthos in General Hospital for decades. He's phenomenal. And you're my guy. You're the best. I mean, I got the two best soap opera actors and arguably in American history looking out for them, brother. I think I got a chance.
And wait, you're on again today, right?
Yes, I am.
Today.
I'm in General Hospital again today.
This is getting sickening.
I know.
It's got to be over.
It's getting ridiculous.
Why not? For heaven's sake, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. What show is that?
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
Eric.
Competition makes the world go round.
That's right.
Speaking of sickening, I know we mentioned that you were a Lakers fan, kind of had to jump off because of what we discussed. Is that the same for the Cowboys, I'm being told?
I remember the Cowboys, Landry, Roger Staubach. Those were the Cowboys, you know?
Yes.
And I have a feeling, as much as I admire Jerry Jones for having created this enormous empire, which he has, he should stay the hell out of coaching. I have a feeling that he probably still comes to the sidelines and tells that carrot top,
yes,
as you call him, what to do. That's bad. That's not right.
Probably calls them now. Probably calls them as opposed to going down to the sideline. Probably calls them.
But isn't that the reason that Jimmy Johnson left the
Yes.
Cowboys?
Ego conflict.
Precisely.
You went carrot top.
That's when things go awry. Can't do that. Look at the Lakers. Can't do that. Jerry Jones, enjoy your wealth. Enjoy that magnificent stadium. Enjoy all the fans you have all around the world. And just stay out of coaching.
And what you're saying is that the young and the restless, there aren't these kind of ego conflicts like a General Hospital.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I have been blessed to have been on a hell of a show for the last 37 years. That is unheard of in this business, and surrounded by wonderful actors. Melody Thomas Scott, Peter Bergman, Eileen Davidson, Joshua Morrow, who knows a lot about sports. That guy knows a lot about, you should have him on the show. A lot about sports. Great actors. Christophe St. John, wonderful actor, Brighton James. etc. So, been very lucky.
You talk about a hell of a show. How about a hell of a story, which I can't wait to read your book. I didn't know any about that growing up in Germany and that noise and how that's probably impacts you in terms of your success today.
I was honored when he had me do the foreword for his book. I've known him for years. You're a wonderful friend. I appreciate so much of the advice and the counsel that you've given me throughout the years. I value our friendship, and I'm honored to have had you on the show today.
Same to you, my brother.
Eric.
Max, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Appreciate you. I'll be damned. Of course you'd write the foreword for a book with that title. So fitting. It is available now. Make sure to pick that up.
There have always been two schools of thought on Phil Jackson. The overwhelming majority of NBA heads have correctly seen Phil as a master leader, smart enough to get himself in charge of the most talented teams in basketball, confident enough to delegate the X's and O's to Tex Winter, cool enough to earn the respect of the greatest players of all time, and competitive enough to win 11 chips, the master manipulator, succeeding where others had failed, the greatest coach in NBA history. I bought all that. There have also always been the haters, a small contrarian group of small contrarian people who've maintained that Phil Jackson was simply the luckiest man in NBA history. Yeah, he won, but Fred Flintstone could have won a handful of titles with Jordan, Pippen, Shaq, and Kobe. The emperor has no clothes, say the haters. But petty denial of the record has made the haters look bad, not Phil. Until right now, when Phil Jackson's giving the haters their day, he's being exposed, gave away Tyson Chandler, Iman Shumpert, and J.R. Smith, traded for the shadow of Derrick Rose, signed broken-down Joakim Noah to an absurd guaranteed contract, and now his effort to stain the legacy of Carmelo Anthony is staining his own legacy. Yesterday's embarrassment, a straight-up one-sided hit piece planted in Bleacher Report about Melo's lack of championship medal, followed by a ham-handed tweet by Jackson, was just the latest in a string of clumsy and obvious attempts to publicly humiliate a legendarily talented player on his way out the door. Melo deserves better. Everyone deserves better than what Phil Jackson is doing to Carmelo Anthony. It's a bad look, Phil. You want to be remembered as a genius or as a guy who took the money, got in over his head, and tried to sleaze his way to credibility using telegrams in an Instagram world. All of New York hopes you fix the Knicks, but all of sports is watching you fail and watching the way you're failing. And history is judging harshly.
No question, and it keeps getting worse. Tarnishing his legacy.
Excellent
well done,
final
as
take,
always,
Max.
Thank you, sir.
By Max. You can check them out on our First Take and Twitter pages.
That's how you close the show.
All our final takes live there. Thank you, everybody. All the Patriots, Eric Braden. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Catch First Take weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on ESPN. Have a great day. We'll see you all tomorrow.